All right, and we are back here now with TonyGeeeee, top 4 competitor from this week's ETS. Playing a deck that is near and dear to my heart, an archetype that I've been in love with since I found the game way back in 2016. Of course, we're talking about Armory. Yeah, and we'll post a link to the deck list in the chat if you haven't already seen it. I have it right here. In the chat. Done. Cool. How's it going, Tony?
Pretty good, pretty good. I'm very glad today worked out, because if I went like 0-2 drop or something, I would have been very depressed. So I'm glad RNG went my way today.
Yeah, that was why I actually had considered playing Armory this weekend as well, but I didn't want to feel like you just described, so I didn't pull the trigger. I was too afraid.
Yeah, it's very. It can go both ways. Let's say that. It's when you don't get it. When you play TS, you always play matchup lottery. But I feel like Armory has very good matchups and very bad matchups. So like when you play Armory in the tournament, you really have to make sure that you will most likely play very good matchups.
Yeah, you gotta know the right time, and we'll come back to that in a minute. But first, let's talk about you for a minute. It seems like you haven't been as active as you used to be lately. So what have you been up to?
Yeah, well, I mean, since the Invitational, I kind of wanted to, take a step back, chill a little bit, because I spent like all of my Saturdays and most of my Sundays just grinding the tournament scene, and I just, since like I'm locked in for Worlds, I was like, I can take it a little bit more chill, just have, spend some time with my girlfriend and,
Ooh.
Yeah. And,
Hello.
just like see family, see friends and stuff. Not that I, stop seeing them or anything, but,
Right.
like I canceled plans because I wanted to play tournaments. So like, I just wanted to, go back to my sources and make sure I wanted to go back playing tournaments for the right reasons. And yeah, I think I'm at that point where I will slowly come back to the tournament scene.
Excellent. Yeah, I can definitely relate to what you were saying just based on streaming every single day for the last 150 days. I don't talk to... Like, it's funny, when I started doing this streaming every single day thing, I was living in Indiana. I'm from Oregon. Most of my friends are here. I hung out with them online. We played video games and stuff a lot when I was in Indiana. Now that I'm back, I've played games with my friends like maybe 6 times in the last 2 months since I've been back in Oregon. So I definitely can relate to what you're saying there. Especially also like when I was grinding Magic tournaments all the time back in the day. So.
Oh boy, yeah.
Have you been playing other games or anything like that?
Yeah, I might get lynched for that, but I've been playing a lot of Hearthstone. Like, I know,
I was afraid you would say that.
Yeah, there was the new expansion and stuff, and my all-time favorite deck is Control Warrior. So I knew Control Warrior's back, so I just grinded Control Warrior into Legend. And
being a Armory player in Eternal, I wouldn't put you on being a fan of the Warrior in Hearthstone.
Well, it's like you armor up, you have weapons, and you control the game. You have Brawl and Harsh Rule, which are kind of the same. So, it's like I found my calling in that kind of deck.
Fair enough. What's the meta like right now in Hearthstone?
Lots of Q block, lots of Spiteful Druids, and some other crap, but oh yeah, paladins all over the place. So like you have to play these 3 decks, or else you're just gonna get stumped, because like there's no deck that beats these 3 decks. So you have to play one to make sure that you at least beat the others.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Yep.
Would you say that the metagame in Hearthstone is in a healthy place right now?
I feel like the viable decks are there. Like there's way less viable decks right now in Hearthstone than it feels like. Yeah, I'm not like a competitive player in Hearthstone. I'm very much a casual player, but like
casual
I feel like
guy.
Yeah. I feel like in general, Eternal is way more varied in terms of like deck building and like what you can do and viable strategies. So like that was a bit of a breath of fresh air when I came back to Eternal, and I was like, okay, like the world is my oyster. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, that's awesome. So speaking of Eternal, let's move back on to Eternal from here. We talked enough about Hearthstone. Everybody's got a sour taste in their mouth already. So
that goddamn game.
Let's start with a negative question, or somewhat negative question.
Mhm.
What card do you hate the most in Eternal? Not necessarily that's bad for the game, but card that kicks your butt a lot and gives you a lot of a hard time. Maybe a couple of cards.
Yeah, there's Channel Tempest for sure. I hate seeing Channel Tempest. When I see a deck that has this card, I'm like, oh fuck, I lost. But there's also a card I both love and hate is Rain of Frogs, because I hate facing Rain of Frogs, but when I play Feln, I love having some Rain of Frogs in the sideboard, so like I can shut down other people's strategies. But yeah, when I get Rain of Frog and I have like 2 Icarias in hand, I'm very, very mad. Well, anything Grenadins also. I guess we're gonna talk a bit about that a bit later. But anything Grenadins, I'm not a big fan, because when I play Grenadins, I get fucked. But when I play against Grenadin, I also get fucked. So yeah,
it's a lose-lose. Yeah, yep. I was for fun about a week ago. I tried out playing like the deck that Lights Out Ace beat you with, but I was playing Xenon Obelisk for funsies.
Oh.
And it was cool when it worked, but it's unnecessary, obviously. So, on the flip side, what's your favorite card or cards?
Daisho. Oh, Daisho. Yes, it's like it's the only weapon that's like very, very flavorful, that like you can attack twice. It changes the whole thing. It changes the whole game, and it's like you go 2 for 1, or you just kill your opponent in like 2 or 1 or 2 turns. It's like it's so explosive. I love it, and big Daishos. Of course, Icaria also is one of my all-time favorite cards. I'm Artisan also, like anything armory I really like, but besides that, I really like Champion of Mystery. It's like I really like Bruised by Gods versions of like Big Xenon, and like Champion of Mystery is like a very good body. It's okay-ish. It doesn't do much. It's like 6-drop that doesn't do much, but when it goes off, and it's like a mirror breaker and stuff. So I really love that card. I think it's very fun. Yeah, I guess those are like my all-time favorite cards.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on all those armory cards that you said. I like Champion of Mystery. I had fun playing it before Set 3 came out. Haven't played it much since then. But all those armory cards, man, yeah, we both share the affinity for that archetype. I really like to try to jam Treasury Gate in there whenever I can. It's usually too slow, but yes. That was like one of the first legendaries I crafted 4 of. Was Treachery Gate, which is not I do not advise that to any new players out there.
Well, if there was a card, like another weapon, like they're not going to print another Justice weapon because like Tavrod is in the game, but like if they ever print another weapon with like a what's it called, battle skill, it would be very nice. I don't know which, but like the point with Treasury Gate that the Minotaur keeps the battle skill as well. So right now there's like Sword of Icaria, and that's it, right? That we can use an armory that has a battle skill. So like if there were another weapon somewhere down the line, that would be very nice. Maybe Treasury Gate would be okay. Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, it'd be cool to have like a playable lifesteal weapon or something.
Oh, yes. Oh my god.
Or maybe like what if there was like a mini Daisho that was like maybe a 2/2 or something, or maybe even 1/1. So you have to play it with Artisan or Warcry cards or whatever. What would be a fair price? What would be a fair mana cost for that, or power cost?
So it's like X mana 1/1. You can attack twice. That's a card.
Something like that.
I'd say like 1 mana, 2 mana. Like I think it should be costed pretty cheaply, because like. If it's a 1/1, like 1/1 weapon, it doesn't do much. You have to like buff it to make it good. So
what if it's a 2/2? Then it's a little bit riskier. From a design perspective.
It could. I don't know. I think it wouldn't be good enough. I feel like every time you would consider this card, you'd be like, okay, so I have Sword of Icaria, I have Runehammer, and I have Daisho. So do I have to cut one of these weapons, or do I have to add another weapon? And if so, what do I cut? And like that's always a problem with Armory, right? It's like what to cut, because the deck list is like 73 cards, the same every time. So like you have to pick and choose. So I mean, to answer your question, I think like a 3 mana would be an okay cost, but I don't think it would see play.
Fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, back in March, I got tricked into thinking that Armory was back, and I was doing well on the ladder with it. I won like 10 games, or maybe less than that, I don't know. I got a little too excited, and I smashed a monster can on my forehead. It didn't really work.
Oh, boy.
That's a little tip for you. Little flavor thing for you. Speaking of flavor, do you enjoy the lore of the game, or do you just care about the mechanics?
I'm not a lore guy. I like any game I've played, I don't care much about the lore. Even like big, like engrossing games like The Witcher and like the new Zelda and stuff. Like I played those games and like I really, really, really like them, but I'm not super interested in like the big background story. I like when they do like flavorful cards like In Cold Blood. That I found that was nice, but when I play like the adventures and stuff, I just play to get the cards, and then I ask myself what's constructed viable and stuff. So yeah, I know I'm boring, but I don't care much about the lore.
It's not for everyone. It's not for everyone. My co-host for the podcast, he loves the lore more than anything. So speaking of nothing, let's move on to the tournament today. So you brought Armory, you finished in the top 4, you got knocked out by the eventual winner, some guy named Lights Out Ace.
Who's that guy?
Never heard of him until today. So what draws? Well, before we talk specifically about your build today, what draws you to the archetype and decks with a low unit count overall?
Well, I saw the top 8 from last week, and I was like, okay, so there's TJP mid, there's Spell Control, and then Argenport mid 1. And Armory crushes all of these matchups. So I was like, okay, well, right off the bat, I feel like Armory has an advantage. And right now, we went back to a more unit-heavy meta, I feel like. Like, the good decks have a lot of units. So, once again, like, the power of Armory is that when your opponent draws things like Permafrost or Slay or Vanquish, they don't do much. Like, they're not super useful. So like when you're in a very minion heavy meta like this one, I feel like Armory is always good. Of course I'm biased, but so it's just like it was a bit of a meta call, and of course it's like my pet deck, so like I wanted to come back, and when I made my comeback, I don't know, when I wanted to go back into playing ETS, like kind of wanted to go down with Armory, just because I love the deck, and it's just I haven't played a whole of ladder. Like I usually play like 50-60 games a day of ladder, but now I kind of played like 10. So I wanted to play something that was comfort. Yeah, comfort over everything. That's like always what I do, is like always comfort over everything. So yeah, that's a very good tip that players could take no matter what game they're playing. Like when in doubt, just if you stepped away from the game for a minute, or you're not sure what to do, just go with what you're most comfortable with, what you have most experience with. For sure. So with the build that you brought today, it looks pretty standard issue, pretty similar to what we've seen in the past. Yeah, there's like Setback, which is the thing, like the most out there thing, I guess, but it's not too extreme. But it's like, I kind of wanted an insurance policy against Grenadines. I guess it didn't work out, but yeah, that was a goal. Just like, it's a Sabotage in slower matchups, and it's a Sweeper and like more token heavy stuff. And like I saw that also Praxis tokens was a thing, so I kind of wanted like to have basically 7 harsh rules against those kind of decks.
Yeah, the Praxis, the tokens, and the more like go wide strategies were part of what kept me a little too afraid to play Armory. Like obviously we have the harsh rules and whatnot, but the Devastating Setback, it's not quite a lightning storm. It's not quite a hailstorm. It just made me a little too afraid to pull the trigger. But like I saw what you saw, and I was one of the people playing Feln last week. I didn't really feel like playing Feln mirrors this week, even though I think I would outplay most Feln players, especially since they're not gonna know when to use their levitates properly. But yeah, me and Notorious GHP, ironically, we're talking about playing, maybe playing Armory.
Mhm.
And then I suggested maybe I'll play Moment because it seems like well positioned for similar reasons that you said. But I hear a little bird told me he helped you fine tune your list for this weekend. Is this true?
Yeah, well, I mean, we talked a lot about about the deck. I mean, GHP historically has been like he loves Armory as well, and like he's been I know he's played it to a level where he's very comfortable. So like when I try a new version, I kind of like ask around. Like I haven't asked Buckwheat, but I should have. But usually like my go-tos are like Buckwheat, Kamado, but he hates Armory right now, so I wouldn't ask him about Armory because he would just tell me like cut Artisans because they're bad. So yeah, I just ask around, see like I have like this kind of like tech and stuff. What do you think? And like people give their feedback and stuff. Like my first iteration for this tournament, I had 2 Deep Forge Plate in the sideboard to kind of beat on time mirrors and like stuns stuff, like maybe permafrost if that was a thing, or just like make my things beefier. And then everybody was like, Tony, that's a bad idea, don't do that. So I was like, okay, well, if everybody says that, then I guess it's a bad idea.
It definitely seems weird on paper, but I mean, hey, it's good to think outside the box and just try things out that maybe don't make sense at face value. My biggest problem with the 90 that you registered is that there are 0 smuggler stash.
Yep. Yeah, that's sad, but it's just like I played in the team tournament. You were in that, right? The team what's it called? Like
the team unified draft thing.
Yeah.
You were one of my considerations for first pick.
Thank you. But yeah, I was fortunate enough to have a pretty good armory list. Like there were I had 3 torches and 2 quarries, and the rest was pretty much the same thing as what I brought.
Mm-hmm.
So like I had a bit of experience with armory in that tournament, and I had 2 smuggler stash, and every time I wanted to, I didn't want to board more than one, and there was one matchup where that stash actually mattered, and it was like big Combray / Voda ramp or something, where I would have won anyway because he had no vanquishes. I know it's like a very results oriented to say that like, oh,
Sure.
that one tournament that's actually not very constructed playable. Like I didn't care about stash, but I feel like what matchups do you want stash in? Like you don't care about it in versus Feln because like you're gonna smash them with a big rune hammer anyway. You don't care about them like it's too slow versus Chalice because like you just wanna kill them as soon as possible and use Ikari as your finisher. So what is there? Like what big control deck do you want it against? I'm not sure.
That's fair. I mean, I guess it would be good against Temporal, but that's not a real thing. And, maybe it would be good against Feln. Maybe it'd be better against Feln if they didn't have In Cold Blood, so they've already hit your Ikaris and they're all gone. You're not bringing those back. So, fair enough. I mean, it does definitely feels so good to cast it and bring back 4 things.
I completely agree, but those don't happen very often anymore. Sadly,
not anymore.
I agree with you. I would have loved to have 4 stashes in my deck, but I don't think it's as good as it used to be. Yeah, of course it got nerfed, but also just the meta doesn't care for stash right now, I feel like.
Yeah. So you kind of touched on it already, but I was going to ask, what kind of meta do you generally look for to play Armory? And like, when does Armory thrive? You were kind of talking about when there's like a mid-range heavy creature, unit heavy metagame. That's kind of what you're looking for, right?
Yeah, like not too many Dawnwalkers, That's
Yeah.
also a thing.
Yeah.
Not too many tokens. Basically, like when those happen, don't play Armory. But like when Argent Port is good, which is every time, Argent Port is always the best deck.
Yep.
So it's very good against Argent Port. And when there's like some kind of TJP variant, I feel like Armory just crushes all of them. Like when Cumber Party was a thing back in the day, like I felt it was a breeze. And like those, like Burn Queen, regular Burn Queen is okay. Like not those super low to the ground like Jato less Queen. That's an awful matchup. But like everything that's like aggro, not hyper aggro, but like aggro to like mid-rangey late game, that's good. And then like those super heavy control decks can destroy you if like they draw their good cards. But like, no, I'm not talking about like unitless control, that Tin Man thing that's like every single removal in the game.
Yeah.
Just like, actual good control decks.
Right.
So like those can destroy you just because like they don't care and they have the tools for your weapons. But yeah, I feel like those don't exist anymore. So yeah, I feel like right now, I feel like Armory should have been more meta. I feel like people should have played more. Of course, hindsight is 2020, and like it's a top 4, right? It's not like the end of the world. It's not like, oh look, everybody play Armory. It's not that. But I feel like Armory was always in a good spot. It's just when there's no Dawnwalker and when there's no big tokens, that's fine. That's pretty much my rule of thumb.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm a little upset that I didn't get you didn't message me to tell me that Armory was good, but next time.
Sorry. Well, I messaged your teammate, right? So I thought maybe.
Fair.
The message
he left that out.
Okay.
Well, fair enough. I mean, I think I'm happy with your finish. I mean, you didn't win. That was my if I wasn't gonna win the tournament, if I wasn't going to make top 8, you were my favorite.
Well, thank you.
I mean, I like you, I like Armory, so it's just a win-win. There's that. But how do we make Armory great again in set 4? Like, what kind of cards would we need? Like, what are you hoping for in set 4 to bring Armory back on top?
That's not gonna happen, as I said, because of Tavrod, but like better weapons than Sword of Icaria, and maybe like a because like Icaria. Okay, sorry, I'm thinking while speaking, but because I'm like better late game payoffs, but then like Icaria and Daisho are so good that I doubt that's gonna happen. So my biggest thing is like efficient silences, which like Maiden kinda is, but it's like it's either very good or extremely trash. So like I want kind of like an in between. Also like a way to sweep that's not devastating setback would also be good. Of course, harsh rule, but like other token sweeper for tokens, I guess. But that's a very good question.
Here's my idea.
Card draw. That would be nice.
Card draw.
Like 1 mana, draw 1 card, give your card +1/+1 would be nice. That
just throwing it out there.
Like, 1 mana, 1 Justice Influence. That, could be nice.
And I would settle for it having multiple influence requirements.
Yeah. Or what I would really, really like, but that's never gonna happen, is a stash for spells.
Okay, fair.
That's not excavate, right?
A relic weapon that silences. That'd be neat.
Oh,
what about
a
relic weapon?
That would be so good. That's never
gonna happen. A relic weapon that
so
silences and has quick draw. Maybe just like a 2/1. So it's like easily to kill.
Oh my god. Yeah, quick draw weapons would be very nice. Except like there's like 1 quick draw weapon, 2 like the last word, but that's not playable. But like the other one that's like 5 mana 2/2 or something, like that's just a trash weapon. But quick draw would be very nice on the weapon. I agree.
Yeah, it always feels so good when you those times where you actually you try to play last word and it doesn't just die. Feels really good. Like, how do I lose? Just kill. So what kind of cards are you looking for in the new set, just in general, like a new keyword? Do you think? What should they make some new keywords? I'm sure they will either way.
Yeah, they will.
Or would you rather that they just focus on the the keywords and the mechanics that we already have?
I feel like new keywords are always nice, but sometimes they're hit and miss. I feel like honestly, that's not exactly answering your question, but that's just like a bubble that popped in my mind. Like the revenge mechanic is kind of all over the place. I feel like it's like there's very very good revenge cards, but it's just so random. It's like you draw it on turn 1 and then your opponent feels bad, or you draw it on turn 10 and then you feel bad. And it's like there's turn 5 is like okay, I guess, but it's like you can't be like, okay, on this turn this will happen, therefore I can like play my turn accordingly. So I wish they would just do like revenge 3. So let's say like
so you know where it is.
Yeah, exactly. In 3 draws you're gonna have your card. Or revenge X, right? So every card has that kind. So you can balance Macto and still have revenge. It could be like revenge 5, revenge 6, I don't know, but like it could be more balanced. I'm not saying Macto is like overpowered or anything, but when Macto is good, Macto is very good. It's very annoying. Like when we seen that Echo Macto deck, that was pure. But yeah, for new cards, I'd like.
I want a relic tutor personally.
Yeah, that would be very nice. Like
then I can play my Treasury Gate.
Oh yes, that would be nice. More card draw. I feel like this, people complain a lot about consistency in this game, and that's because there's not a lot of card draw. And like we have 75 cards, so we need good card draw. And I know it's like it's beating a dead horse at this point. Beating a dead horse, not beating a dead whore. Sorry, but we need just better card draw. Simple as that. Every faction need card draws, and then we're just gonna have consistent deck, and that's gonna be nice for everybody.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Every faction having its own way to draw cards. I mean, Primal just gets to draw cards. So far, I mean, Inspire doesn't really count, but for Justice, they've had wanted posters, so they have to invest a card to try to get their investment back. That's
and it was a good card, and then they nerfed it.
Yeah. I wonder what would be the best way for the other factions to have their card draw. Like Shadow already has some. They have like the Scheme and Quarry type of thing, and I guess Quarry is a multi-faction card. But how would Time draw cards? What would be the best way for Time to draw cards that would fit with its thing? I guess we already have some.
Empower?
Seen some of that. Empower, maybe.
Like not
playing
exactly
the big
Mystic
units.
Ascendant. Yeah, or like.
What if there was a Whispering Wisp relic?
So when you attack, you draw a card?
No, when you play a big unit, you draw a card or 2 cards or whatever.
Oh, okay. That would be nice.
How much? If it was literally the same text as Whispering Wisp, and you could do it every time you played a big guy, how expensive would the relic have to be both balanced and C-play?
Jesus. Oh boy, that's a tough question.
I feel like minimum it has to be balanced. I feel like it has to minimum be 5 power, but then it's like hard to like justify putting it in your deck.
Yeah, exactly. Like you have that 3 mana time card, that's like Nightfall and then pay 5 to draw a card. So like you have that card. So I guess pay 5 to draw a card is balanced in their minds.
Friendly Wisp is what I meant to say.
Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. But yeah, it could be like a relic that's somewhat cheap, maybe 3-4 mana. Like they really like 4 mana time relics. So like do that, and every time you play like a 5 damage, 5 attack guy, draw a card or something. It would be very good.
If it was just draw 1 card,
very
I think 1 card is sufficient. If it just cycled basically cantripped.
Yeah.
I'd play
if everybody has card draw, I'm fine with that card being printed.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that for sure. What color pairing? What faction would a relic tutor be? It feels like it would have to maybe be Praxis. If there was like a Rise to the Challenge for relic and some other conditional thing.
Yeah. Yeah, they're really big into like Praxis having a lot of attachments. So yeah, that would make sense.
Or maybe it could be Combre, and it could still be Unit or Relic, and it'd be Rise of the Challenge Power.
Yeah, but Direwolf, they don't bring Cumbre cards. Like, Big Cumbre is running on set 1 cards. Like, they don't like good Cumbre cards. So.
Fair enough. They did a lot. There was a lot of good Combre support in set 1, so maybe there's a little bit of apprehension. Don't want to push too far into it.
Yeah, but then they printed Tavrod, but you know.
Hey, I think Tavrod's fine. I miss playing AP Control.
I agree. It's just that Argent Port as a whole has so many tools. It has everything. Like I don't mind because I farm Argent Port mid with Armory. I'm fine with that. But it's just like they have everything. They have super good units for their stats. They have good weapons to put on these units. They have the best removals in the game. Like, what more do you want?
Fair enough. Well, cool. Yeah, I think we'll probably get set 4 probably in mid-June, maybe late May.
Fingers
maybe
crossed.
Late May. Maybe they'll just like do another like surprise. Oh, by the way, here's the set, just like they did with set 3. I think I should probably. I'm not one of those players that has 400,000 Shiftstone, so maybe right now I should stop. I shouldn't. If somebody sends me a deck with like some meme legendary, I probably should just hold off and just save my Shiftstone from here until set 4. It's kind of what I'm thinking.
My rule of thumb is to stop spending gold when the adventure starts. Like when the Dead Reckonings dropped, I stopped spending any kind of gold.
No more drafting.
So, except like for the monthly league.
Yeah, the league.
That, like because that's
How do you feel about the league?
It's fun. Like I play my 10 matches a week. I always draft Argent Port because like even in that format I feel like it's extremely good. It has like good flyers, and flyers is very good. It has good removal once again. So like I feel like Argent Port depends. Of course, it depends on what you actually get. Right. But I feel like if you had to choose, I'd choose Argent Port. So yeah, I'm having a blast. Like I place, I don't know, top 200 or something. But I play my 10 matches. I play some placements as I feel like it, and I just forget about it. And then like comes Tuesday and I open 2 packs now and I'm like, okay, cool, okay, then I have this to add, okay, cool, and then I play my 10 games and like I focus on other stuff that forward. So it's very nice. I feel like that's the kind of event I really care about. Whereas I heard this one that's the Singleton event is very nice, but I've
had fun.
Yeah, I've stopped playing events for some reason just because like.
Your collection's big enough. You don't need the value.
It's okay, but I don't want to spend that much time. Like to get a showing on the leaderboard, you need to spend like 20,000 gold and like do 4 runs. And like, I'd rather just grind the ladder.
The Singleton, you got to do 5 runs instead of 3 runs this time. It's 2,000 entry, so it was only 10,000 gold total. That's all I did on my stream yesterday. It took me about 6 hours to do 5 runs, and only 2 of which I won 7 times. The other 2 I went 5, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3. So.
Yeah, it's very time consuming. It's fun. Like I'm not saying like nobody should play it. It's very fun. It's just like I used to play every event a lot, and then I was like, okay, I got my fun. I will play when like one will be like super fun, and when I will have time, because usually on the weekends I play in the ETS, so like I usually focus on that.
Fair enough. Well, cool. I think that's about all that we have here for this. Maybe real quick, you're a part of a group called SPG. Let's talk. Tell us a little bit about SPG and maybe what it stands for, who's in it, and what some future projects your team hopes to achieve.
Yeah, sure. Well, yeah, SPG stands for Seek Power Gaming. It was originally created by for old school guys, Haidar, which was one of the big Combre master back in the day, and 2 of his co-workers, Jolie Check and Tripped Out Fish. And then we have players like Second Blue, Ski J, Camp Throat, who won the mid-season invitational like in season 1. There's myself. There's Child Roland. There's Bruised by God. There's Suno. There's like there's a lot of good people. I'm sure I'm like. There's Paradox, of course, like extremely good and very intelligent player. There's like so many players, and I'm very very happy to be part of this team.
Awesome.
So yeah, and for future plans, Paradox and I have finished our first part of a tier list, so we will release a tier list probably this week. I have to write some stuff, but it should be done maybe Monday or Tuesday, depending on our availability. So we'll release a SPG tier list this week.
Awesome. I'm all for more tier lists to see what the other opinions are of some other, great minds in the game. Somebody on my stream suggested that we should, that Team Rankstar should put out a tier list too, and I was like, yeah, maybe. Yeah. But
sure.
yeah, it'd be nice to see I'm looking forward to seeing y'all's tier list and how it compares to RNG's and whatever else.
Yeah, spoiler alert, Argent Port is tier 1.
There. Yeah. Well, cool. Well, thanks for being a guest on this surprise mini episode of Unexpected Results, the Eternal Podcast. We stream the show live every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. So we'll be back tomorrow with a real, normal, full episode without TonyGeeeee. We'll have Mantid Man downgrade back to Mantid Man tomorrow. Are there any social media or any websites that you want to plug? Anything you want to plug before we let you go?
Well, SeekPowerGaming.com is our website, but I'm not big on social media. I used to stream, but now I might go back to streaming. I don't know, but like I'm busy and like I'm gonna move out soon and stuff, so I have a lot to prepare for. But streaming is in my mind.
On the table.
So yeah, so I mean I want to stream, but I don't know when I can stream. So
yeah.
like maybe twitch.tv/TonyGeeeee with 5 E's. Sometimes maybe you'll see my name pop on Twitch, and that's about that. I'm not like I don't have a Facebook page. I don't have Twitter. I don't have these. So yeah.
I stopped using most social media, but then I started streaming all the time. So I was like, well, Twitter's good for that, so I'll use this one.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I need you to get back to streaming so that I can get your hosts when you go to work.
I will
for
try.
my own selfish gains. Well, all right. Well, thank you very much for joining us.
It was a blast. Thank you very much for having me.
Have a good evening.
Hey, you too.